Yeah, I'm gonna go pee.
What happens next? So he does continuation, that doesn't work. Well, now you're going to get introduced to what this whole offense being a team offense is all about. First of all, the dump. The guy who was the dump goes into the bottom of the stack. This happened in all the other displays, it's just you didn't really care about it because the disc was 70 years away. He goes to the bottom of the stack. Second of all, the guy who threw it, if you throw the disc to someone, you will then become their dump. That's how our offense is going to work. For simplicity's sake and a lot of reasons. He now becomes the dump. Right? This makes sense so far. But, what about Senior Man over here? What happens with him? Well, we're going to get into something, it's actually rather complex what happens in a continuation. What really a continuation cut looks like is this. Anybody who's ever practiced saw that. You don't really cut in and then cut out because your guy's probably caught off guard anyway. What you do is you cut deep. But then, yeah.
In 15 minutes, Marco, I was going to be using the space to equalize.
Sounds good.
Nice.
So, you cut deep, but you don't get it. The next cut is going to be, and this is always true, no matter what offense we use, we're going to be using the host stack offense to some extent. But when you cut deep, you cut back short. That make sense? Exactly. This is part one of a cut. If it works, beautiful. But if it doesn't, part two. Right there. You see that? Does this make sense? What? Yeah. It happens to be my favorite cut too. You know why? It works! Like a frickin' charm. But here's something to recognize. While this is happening, everybody knows what they're doing. This guy's going here, this guy's going here. Where are these two guys? Now recognize, right now in this offense, 4 people are in motion. That's why I'm saying you're not really wrestling that much. What are these 3 people doing? Exactly. After these 3 guys are shifting up. How much are they shifting up? Well, believe it or not, the way I like to do it until you get close to the end zone is this. Well, that was a pass of, that was a pass of 20 yards. That was about 20 yards. So that's how simple I like stack movement to be. Oh wow, we made a 20-yard completion. Good. Now we shift 20 yards up. That make sense? That makes sense. Wow, that's very difficult. Well, it is a little difficult, yes. You gotta run 20 yards up. Meanwhile, well, the only time you really have to do that in is the time for this guy to make his in cut. So you're running. So that's why I'm saying there's no waiting in Ultimate. You're running. You're going 20 yards. Right now, you have a 20-yard sprint, which we all know we can all do under 2 seconds. All right? So you got about 2 seconds. Sorry, I didn't say those two. You have to get up here. Okay? But I'm going to point something out. This is how intuitive our offense is. I'm really hoping that somebody didn't answer right. What happens when this pass is made? And now this guy has the disc. What's next? What do you think? What does your gut tell you is the next move? So this guy's just made it, went deep, they cut back in and he gets a pass. And anyone can answer this except Kevin.
Continuation.
Say it louder.
Get a continuation of the next guy's gonna cut. Maybe?
Who would make the continuation?
The guy on this side.
Exactly. That's how intuitive it is. This guy is now about here. And he's like, well, that guy just made a cut. Let me get more yards on it. Boom, baby. Yeah. you how intuitive this offense is. What if he doesn't get it? It comes back in. It's as simple as that. So that's the motion our offense generally takes. I'm going to point out one more hypothetical before we even touch what happens if we're not able to get that one. So, we're back in our old handy-dandy stand. Got a guy down here, a guy here, and 5 guys here. Now, this guy makes his cut. He doesn't get it. Right? We all know what happens. What happens next? What does this guy do next? Clears. Alright? So what happens next? Say it loud. We all know the answer.
The next guy cuts.
That's right. This guy cuts. Doesn't work. What happens next?
Clear.
How much time do you think that all took? That's, I mean, those are 3 full cuts. You'll never get it. I mean, I'd love it. Whoa. Don't get me wrong. If we can aspire to getting 3 cuts in the time, but I don't want us to have the disc for 10 seconds. I don't want us to even flirt with 10 seconds. In fact, I like to run something called 5-second offense. Some teams run like a 3-second offense. I say that's crazy. Sorry. I like to run a 5-second offense. What it is nobody holds the disc for more than 5 seconds. Not only does that mean you'll never even get close to a stall count, but it also means that you will be moving the disc around. So, assuming this guy cuts and doesn't get it, and he clears, and this guy cuts and doesn't get it, and he clears. What's next? Don't dump. That's exactly right. What we do is a dump. The way I've always found is the most effective for a dump is simply, that's called an upline cut. So this is the first option. See this dump? You remember the dump? He does an upline cut. The reason he's doing an upline cut is because there's an old saying in Ultimate, never give up upline. Don't do it. It's very dangerous. It is. It's very dangerous. Never get beat upline. It's the saying. It's a very dangerous throw. If we can get that, I don't care what it is. Upline is a very dangerous throw. Okay? When he cuts upline, what happens next? Right, exactly. This guy becomes a dump. Yeah. This guy becomes a dump. But who can think what happens next? It's the same basic idea of continuation, exactly. But not from the top this time. The way I like to do it is to come from the bottom this time. And that's not always used, but that's the way I like it. So, when we get an upline, and another upline, and another upline, and another, we go all the way up. Beautiful, uplines for everyone. Okay? Checks all around, exactly. So, that's what happens on an upline. Well, let's say he gets the upline, and this upline's denied. What happens? Well, the problem is, I've now shot myself in the foot. So, our offense is not perfect. If he makes this upline, you see, if he made this upline, you need a continuation. The reason I like to do that is, well, I like to work it up nice and short, nice 100% passes. But, honestly, I'm going to explain it, because it's easier to explain, I'm just going to explain it like this. Let's say this guy makes the upline. Continuation, okay? Everybody get that? Or not. If he's not open this time, what does he have? Our offense is back to where it was. So for right now, that's our offense works. I'm going to talk to you about why I like that more, but that's much more complex. I'm sorry, I introduced that. So he makes an upline, he gets it perfect, right back to normal. But What if that upline is not there? What's next? Think about it. Well, right now, we're at like stall 6, stall 7. We're at a pretty scary time. This guy is going for a dump. Okay? Dump passes are very important. 3 things happen if we ever get to stall 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm really experimenting with something called a super dump. Alright? And that's not just in the game. What that is this guy. You see that? And then this guy's going to make a desperation. Give it to me, give it to me. Alright? In fact, that could take many forms. In fact, that theoretically could go up here and this could come in. The receivers essentially, if we ever get to stall 8, stall 9, like, anyhow, but the super dump is an interesting concept, so I'll talk to you guys about it. But what does the super dump do? And Kevin and I have argued about this. It's not used in many offenses, but it's used in ours. What does it do?
It assures that
Yeah, you never have to turn it over. Nobody is going to guard a guy 20 yards back. If he does, well, good. We have more space for everyone else. But it means you never have to turn it over. And literally, I would kill for a wide open 20-yard pass, which means you get to keep possession, rather than a highly contested 5-yard pass. All right? You get that? Good. So that's the super dump. So ignore that. This guy's not going to be here. You all know why. Now, what happens if he gets his dump? Well, remember that we've been very this side oriented. That's a very not subtle hint. We've been very this side oriented. But Ultimate is a sport where if you can really, what's called swing the disc, oh, it is beautiful. It is pretty unstoppable. So, if a dump happens, and this guy doesn't get his up line, and he goes to the dump, and he gets the dump pass, it's kind of like a continuation.